We are underway. We start with the 7 muscle-ups.
And Sean, I talked about how this is not the test Roman would want to see coming in this morning. And the reason for that is if there's one hole in Krennikov's game over the last couple of years, it has been events that have high volume muscle ups. If you look back at the Rogue Invitational last year, very similar format. It had 7 rounds of 7 muscle ups and then goblet squats with some running in between. He finished 17th out of a field of 20. Guess who got 3rd? Mr. Jeffrey Adler.
Just about every athlete getting to the bags at the same time. Now they have to put the bag over, move themselves over. The way to think of this is anytime they encounter something in their way, they have to go over it. That includes on the way back to the ring. So Justin Medeiros is out front along with Pat Vellner, Adler, and Roman Krennikov.
We talked about that event at Rogue this past October. Guess who won that event? Mr. Pat Vellner. We're at the North Park. An unsung hero yesterday as far as his competition goes, sitting in 3rd overall. We're at the North Park. We're on Sunday. That screams Pat Vellner.
Jelle Hosta and Pat Vellner will be the 2 men who get back for round number 2. First, Adler and Krennikov and Jonakoski are right behind them. The recipe for success is delivered by Trifecta. What do you got?
No wasted movement. This is an extremely fast test, faster than people may think. These are long straps on the rings. You can't rush the muscle up. You'll get out of control. Same with the bags. And if I can quote the great Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park, must go faster, must go faster.
There are 10 reps in every round, 50 total scored repetitions. As now Pat Vellner is off.
And Sean, we looked at the test itself. It's got 2 elements in here. It's got the ring muscle ups and it's got the bag. But there's a 3rd element that isn't on paper, and that's the run. That's the carries. They are going the length of the North Park field down and back every single round. So these elements in between the logs actually have a dramatic impact on the fatigue in this test.
Now, Pat Vellner and Jelle Hosta, along with Jeff Adler and Roman Krennikov, are leading the way. Jonakoski is there as well. There goes Vellner onto the 3rd and final log. That's 5.5 feet tall. The logs increase in height from 4 to 5 and 5.5 feet. And that'll close out round 2 for Pat Vellner, who's coming off a tie for 12th in the Olympic total, but prior to that, he won the intervals, his first test win of this competition. And he has been making his traditional climb up the leaderboard after putting himself in an early hole again.
Well, not just won the intervals, Sean, he dismantled the intervals. There was nobody even close to Pat Vellner. We talked about the speed of this test. This is a sub 7 minute or sub 10 minute test. So when you look at intervals, about the same pace. When you look at Helena, about the same pace. So no surprise to see Vellner in the lead so far.
Round 3 of 5 has begun. G-Shock is giving you the chance to win a new G-Shock watch, a CrossFit Level 1 seminar, and more than $400 in CrossFit swag. Terms and conditions apply. Now keep in mind, with just 20 athletes in the field, the scoring has changed, so it is easier to make up points in bigger chunks. For a win, you get 100 points. For 2nd place, you get 95. For 3rd, you get 90.
But in that same vein, Sean, it's also easier to lose massive amounts of points, and that's something that Roman needs to be very careful of. Though he's hanging tight with your top guys here, so that's a good look for Roman.
That's 2 Canadians leading the way. Pat Vellner and Jeff Adler right next to each other on round 3 with that 150-pound, 68-kilo bag. The final bag, the red bag, increases to 200 pounds.
And at the very end, Sean, not only do you have to get the bag over the height of that log, which is 5.5 feet, which is about the same height as your top athletes in this field, they have to carry the bag across the finish line.
Vellner and Adler lead. Jelle Hosta sits in 4th, followed by Roman Krennikov, and it's Jonakoski, the man on your screen right now, who is in 3rd. Koski won the opening test back on Thursday. It's the 3rd time in his career he has won the first test of the CrossFit Games.
Let's keep in mind the totality of the gymnastics pulling movements these athletes have had to go through over the last 3 days. Day 1, 50 chest to bar pull-ups, 100 toes to bar, 16 bar pullovers. Day 2, 36 bar muscle-ups, 6 legless rope climbs. I mean, they're going into their 4th round. That's 28 muscle-ups they're having to do so far with 7 more to go.
Pat Vellner only has 2 left at the 37 rep mark. He'll head back to the bag, and Roman Krennikov is falling off the pace here. And if this stands, Jeff Adler will erase the remainder of the deficit he has to Roman Krennikov and could be your overall leader.
Keep your eye on Jonakoski just to the right of Adler and Vellner. He is keeping pace with them. And remember, Jonakoski actually set the test record worldwide in the weighted muscle-up test for semifinals. So this guy has some incredible pulling endurance.
Jonakoski now is starting to gain some ground on Vellner and Adler and has pulled even with them. So we have a three-way tie for first at this point. Yellow Host is right behind them. And Roman Krennikov there in the white and red shorts headed to the second log.
Yellow Host's biggest weapon here is actually the sandbag. His cycle rate on the muscle-ups will not be as fast as the other guys, but he's so tall, he just has to throw it right over the top. So that's where he's making ground on the other three athletes.
Jonakoski has now taken the lead ahead of Vellner and Adler.
Now, in saying that, Sean, we're coming up to the last round. Now the bag goes from 150 to 200 pounds. And if Yellow Hosta is only 6 to 7 seconds behind these top three guys, not only is he going to have the advantage on the logs on the back end, but with that weight and his height, that actually could be the difference maker for Yellow Hosta.
Well, Chandler Smith is on the left side of your screen, and he is trying to hold off Pat Vellner for that final spot on the podium and only leads him by 16 points. And right now, Chandler Smith is in 9th place in this heat.
Sean, I don't know if
Jonakoski and Jeff Adler are off. Jonakoski now hoisting up the 200-pound bag. Adler is right there with him. Here comes Yellow Hosta.
Watch Hosta. He's going to be able to get it over the log easier than anybody and get over easier. Well, I say easier, and he biffs it right there with the first log.
And now Adler is slightly ahead of Jonakoski. And remember, they have to go over that final log and carry that bag across the finish. So Adler is now in front of Jonakoski and staring at a test win here and maybe the overall lead. Roman Krennikov right now is in 5th place, tied with Pat Vellner. Koski is over. Adler has the bag up. And Jeff Adler is going to win and possibly lead with 2 tests remaining.
But check on the right side of your screen, Sean. Roman Krennikov actually should be getting a top 5 finish here, so that is a great finish for what would have been a bad test for Roman.
Now Hosta is in, which means Krennikov is going to take 4th. And that means that Jeff Adler just picked up 30 points on Krennikov and should lead him now by 27. That's unofficial going into test number 2. Vellner, Medeiros, and Pepper have all finished as well. And Chandler Smith is in. Now keep in mind that race between Chandler Smith and Pat Vellner. So Vellner's going to finish 5th. I misspoke about Adler. He's going to pick up 15, so he'll lead by 2. That's unofficial. So Pat Vellner finishes 5th. He's going to earn 80 points. Chandler Smith takes 9th. That's a difference of 20. So right now, unofficially, it looks like Pat Vellner has moved himself into a spot on the podium.
For the final time, and it is done. Here comes Noah Olsen. For lane number 20, Uldis Upniks.
And here comes Uldis Upniks. The Colton Mertens, and I believe that is Bailey Martin. Sorry, that's Jay Crouch who's out there with Colton Mertens. There's Noah Olsen.
Now Colton Mertens is walking up to a log that is an inch taller than him. It is absolutely